Tonight, we're stepping back into the 1970s, remembering 10 R&B songs that captured the warmth, longing, and quiet rhythm of that decade. Some of these songs were smooth, some carried heartache, but all of them held something real, the kind of feeling that only reveals itself years later, when the world has moved on. And the final song on this list, it may be the one that brings the strongest memories back. Let's begin with number 10. Number 10, Love Ballad by LTD. Notes arrive gently, almost like someone easing into a quiet conversation. By the mid-1970s, soul music was beginning to soften around the edges. The heavy grooves of the early decade were making room for smoother arrangements, richer harmonies, and a more intimate kind of storytelling. Love Ballad slipped perfectly into that moment. What makes the song linger is the voice. Young Jeffrey Osborne, singing with a tenderness that feels almost careful, as if the words themselves might break if he pushed too hard. Every line carries that fragile mix of hope and vulnerability that defined so many slow dances of the era. One detail many listeners remember is how the arrangement slowly opens up. The horns and strings don't rush in. They build gradually, giving the song space to breathe, like a memory unfolding. For a lot of people, this was the kind of record that played late in the evening, maybe while sitting close to someone you cared about, maybe while wishing someone was still there. Even now, decades later, the song still feels like a quiet promise floating through the room. Some songs comfort you, others remind you of what once mattered most, and the next one carried a different kind of warmth entirely. Number 9, Me and Mrs. Jones by Billy Paul.
Me and Mrs. Jones.
Some songs arrive like a confession you were never supposed to hear. In the early 1970s, soul music was beginning to explore more complicated emotions, not just love, but the difficult corners of it.
Mrs. Jones.
Me and Mrs. Jones stepped into that space with unusual honesty. Billy Paul never sings loudly here. Instead, his voice carries a quiet weariness, the kind that comes from knowing something beautiful might also be impossible to keep. There's restraint in every line, almost as if he's trying to hold the story together without letting it spill too far. One small detail makes the record unforgettable. That gentle pause between phrases, where the music seems to hesitate for a moment before continuing. It feels like the space between decisions people wish they didn't have to make. For many listeners, the song wasn't just about forbidden love.
And talk with you at the same place, the same cafe.
It was about the complicated realities of adult life, the things people carry quietly long after the music stops. Some songs bring comfort. Others remind us how complicated the heart can be. And the next one brought something the decade always made room for: pure warmth. Number 8, Best of My Love by The Emotions. If the last song lived in shadow, this one opened the windows wide. By 1967, R&B had begun to glow with a brighter energy. The grooves were smoother, the harmonies fuller, and the feeling was unmistakably joyful. Best of My Love captured that spirit perfectly. The Emotions didn't just sing together, they floated. Their voices layered so naturally that it almost feels effortless, like sunlight spilling across the room on a Saturday morning. One of the things that made the record stand out was its rhythm. Produced by Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire, the groove moves lightly but confidently, never rushing, just inviting you to move along with it. For a lot of people, this was the kind of song playing during family cookouts, neighborhood gatherings, or long summer afternoons when life felt simple for a while. And sometimes hearing it again is enough to bring back the warmth of those moments, because every decade had its sunshine. But the next song carried something deeper, the quiet strength of someone who had already seen a few storms. Number 7, If You Don't Know Me By Now, by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Baby, I know the difference between right and wrong.
Some songs don't raise their voices, they simply tell the truth. By the early 1970s, Philadelphia soul had begun shaping a smoother, more reflective sound. Lush arrangements, patient rhythms, and voices that carried emotion without needing to shout.
If you don't,
This record became one of the finest examples of that style. At the center of it all was Teddy Pendergrass. His voice had a rare combination, strength and exhaustion at the same time. When he sings the title line, it doesn't sound like a complaint. It sounds like someone who has already tried everything. One quiet detail makes the performance unforgettable.
get yourself together. Oh, we might as well say goodbye.
Toward the end of certain phrases, Pendergrass lets the note bend slightly downward, as if the weight of the words is pulling it there. For many listeners, this song wasn't just about romance. It echoed the moments when relationships reached that quiet crossroads.
If you don't know me, baby.
When understanding either deepened or slipped away. Some records fade when the decade passes. Others keep asking the same question long after the world has changed. And the next song carried a kind of joy that felt almost unstoppable. Number 6, Rock Your Baby by George McCrae. If the previous song carried reflection, this one brought the dance floor back to life. Released in 1974, Rock Your Baby arrived right as soul music was beginning to lean toward what would soon become disco. The rhythm was lighter, the bass line smoother, and suddenly the whole room felt like it might start moving. George McCrae's voice floats above the groove in an almost effortless falsetto, soft, playful, and just a little hypnotic. There's a famous little studio moment behind this record. The rhythm track was originally recorded for another singer who never showed up to the session. McCrae stepped in, sang the guide vocal, and suddenly the song had found its voice. For a lot of people, this was the sound of packed living rooms, spinning lights, and friends laughing somewhere just beyond the speakers. Sometimes music changes direction quietly, and sometimes you can hear the future arriving in the groove. If you're still listening, you're probably one of us. Subscribing helps keep these memories alive. And the next song reminds us that not every great record needed a dance floor. Some only needed a heart willing to listen. Number 5, Let's Stay Together by Al Green.
So in love with you.
Some songs don't ask for attention. They simply settle into the room and stay there. When Let's Stay Together arrived in the early 1970s, soul music had already given the world powerful voices and unforgettable grooves.
Somebody, why people break up.
But Al Green brought something different, a kind of quiet intimacy that felt almost personal. The first thing people notice is how gently he delivers the words. His voice glides between strength and tenderness, never pushing too hard, always sounding like he's singing directly to one person rather than a crowd. One beautiful detail sits right in the phrasing.
It's what I want us to do.
Green often lets his voice lift softly at the end of a line, almost like a small sigh carried by the music. For many listeners, this wasn't just a love song. It became the kind of record couples returned to again and again, playing during slow evenings, anniversaries, or those quiet moments when two people realized they had weathered a lot together. The song feels less like a declaration and more like a promise. Some music comforts you, and the next one carried a kind of honesty that people rarely said out loud. Number 4, Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
If the last song held warmth, this one carried the silence that comes after someone leaves. Released in 1971, Ain't No Sunshine arrived during a time when soul music was often rich with arrangements and orchestration.
Wonder this time where she's gone.
Bill Withers chose a different path: simplicity. His voice doesn't perform the song so much as inhabit it. There's a plain-spoken quality in the way he sings, as if he's describing something he's still trying to understand. One detail that became legendary is the repeated line, "I know."
I know, 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 I know.
Withers sings it again and again, 26 times in a row. Originally meant as a placeholder during recording, the moment stayed because it captured something real. The way thoughts repeat themselves when someone important is gone. For many people, this song echoed the quieter side of adulthood.
Home anytime she goes away.
The moments when a house suddenly feels too still or a memory lingers longer than expected. Not every record fills the room. Some leave space for you to sit with what's missing. And the next one brought back a kind of groove that only the 70s seemed to know how to deliver. Number 3, Use Me by Bill Withers.
My friends,
Some songs don't ask for approval. They simply tell the truth and let you decide what to do with it. When Bill Withers released Use Me in 1972, the sound felt stripped down and confident. The groove repeats like a quiet heartbeat, steady and hypnotic.
my big brother.
Giving the song a kind of stubborn honesty. Withers' voice carries something unusual here, a calm acceptance of a situation that others might question. He isn't pleading. He isn't apologizing. He's simply acknowledging the complicated ways people sometimes stay connected. One detail that musicians still admire is that groove. The rhythm section locks into a pattern that barely changes, creating a feeling that the story can't escape its own cycle.
Now you're talking about you then, people.
For listeners in the 70s, the song reflected something real about adult life, that relationships don't always fit neatly into the rules people expect. Sometimes the heart chooses its own path, and sometimes music is honest enough to admit it. But the next song reminds us that R&B in the 70s could also sound like pure comfort. Number 2, Just the Two of Us by Grover Washington Jr. and Bill Withers. By the time this song arrived near the end of the decade, R&B had begun blending more freely with jazz and smooth arrangements. The result was something warm, polished, and quietly hopeful.
Wait too late, we gotta go for all we know.
The groove here moves like an easy afternoon drive, unhurried and relaxed. Grover Washington Jr.'s saxophone glides through the melody while Bill Withers delivers the lyrics with that familiar, calm sincerity. There's a small recording detail many fans remember: the gentle bounce of the electric piano.
And when I think of you sometimes, I want to spend some time.
It gives the song a soft lift, like sunlight reflecting off water. For many listeners, this record became the soundtrack to ordinary but meaningful moments. Driving home from work, sitting on the porch, or sharing a quiet evening with someone who mattered. It didn't demand attention. It simply made the world feel a little lighter for a while. And the final song on our list might be the one that carries the deepest echo of the decade. Number 1, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
There's too many of you cry.
Some songs belong to a moment, others belong to history. When Marvin Gaye released What's Going On in 1971, the world around him felt unsettled.
Got to find a way to bring some love in.
Protests, change, and a generation trying to understand where things were heading. Instead of shouting about it, Gaye chose reflection. His voice floats through the song like a conversation with the listener, warm and searching at the same time. One beautiful detail happened during recording. Marvin accidentally sang 2 separate vocal takes over each other.
Hey, what's going on? Wanna know what's going on?
Instead of choosing one, the producers kept both, creating that layered, almost dreamlike sound that made the record unforgettable. For many people, the song captured the feeling of looking around the world and quietly asking how we could all do better. And even now, more than 50 years later, the question still feels gentle and necessary. Music from the 1970s had a way of staying with us. Maybe it's because those songs were part of ordinary life. The radios in our kitchens, the records in our living rooms, the soundtracks to days that didn't seem important at the time. But years later, those same songs carry something deeper. They remind us of who we were and who we shared those moments with. If tonight's music brought back a memory or two, I'm glad you were here to revisit it. And if you'd like to keep the memories going, there's another video waiting on your screen now. Do you still know these timeless R&B songs from 1963? Another doorway back into the music that shaped those years. Until then, keep the music close.